Premium buyers in 2026 are choosing based on who is actually innovating, not who is just doing the same thing, but in a slightly different way. The opportunity right now is massive because most people are still thinking tactically. If you can think strategically, if you can innovate in how you define the problem, how you structure the experience, what you optimize for, then you're not competing. You have shifted the game entirely. You are in a category of your own. Welcome to Rich Work, the podcast for established female entrepreneurs ready to turn their expertise into premium clients and consistent high-ticket revenue. I'm Rachel Pearson, global brand and business strategist, skincare obsessed, and always distracted by booking the next mini break. Here you'll learn how to position like a luxury brand, attract clients who love to invest, and build wealth that actually lasts, so you can create the business and life you want, not someone else's version of success. This is where premium positioning and building wealth meet for women who are rewriting the rules. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the phrase that I have seen all over my feed already in 2026, which is the trust recession. Now, I get it. There are many reasons why trust has been eroded, and buyers are more discerning, and people have been burnt and they are more skeptical. But we're not going to spend time today talking about how trust has been eroded and what that means for business. We are moving on the conversation because I don't see that the trust recession is the main challenge. What we're seeing is an innovation recession. In today's episode, we are diving into what this innovation recession means and how it is a massive opportunity for online businesses. Most people think that they're being innovative when they're not. They are launching a new platform or trying a new funnel or rebranding similar business with new colors, new ways of positioning, and that is innovative. But innovation is not tactical. It is strategic. And in 2026, premium buyers are choosing brands based on who is actually innovating. So in this episode, we're talking about what innovation really looks like in high ticket. I'm going to be talking about what I see is happening in the luxury space because they have moved quicker on this and how this hasn't filtered yet into online business and why this matters more than ever for premium positioning and building your own premium business. Let's get into what innovation really is. Most people think that innovation is about doing something new, whether that's a new format, a new delivery method, a new platform. You've probably seen people say, I'm doing Instagram, but I'm over on LinkedIn. And it's not innovation. It's exciting. It's fun. It gets attention and it gets engagement. But innovation is not simply about doing something that's novel. And is also not about being different for the sake of being different. What real innovation is fundamentally a different way of thinking about a problem. That's how a lot of the businesses that we see today and that you and I use every day have come to be so successful. If you think about businesses like Uber, like Deliveroo, like Amazon, these businesses have become multi-billion businesses because of the way that they innovated a problem. It was innovation that was strategic. It wasn't what they're doing. It was about how they thought about what needs to exist. The luxury market is a step ahead when it comes to innovation, which often surprises people because they think about luxury as being very driven by heritage and an older way of doing things and having been around for years and years. Whereas these are the brands that have had to innovate exactly for those reasons. They cannot stay still because they will become insignificant. Hermes doesn't innovate by adding more handbag styles. It's not innovating by adding new things. It's innovative because it does completely the opposite. It makes scarcity the part of innovation. You can't buy a Birkin bag just because you have the money. You have to be invited. That's a totally different way of thinking about luxury. And here's what I'm seeing in the market now in the premium business space that has not come into online businesses that you run. And most people are missing this, but because you are in this episode, you will be ahead of it. Premium buyers are tired of tactical novelty. They've seen the same offer repackaged 10 different ways. They see the same messaging, and what they're really looking for is strategic innovation. Someone who is thinking about the problem differently, not just delivering it differently. And this is what we're going to be going into today. I'm going to start with looking at some examples from the luxury space to really open your mind into how to get into that innovative way of thinking. My first example is Brunello Cucinelli, who does not just sell high-end Italian menswear. I mean, this stuff is beautiful, but he could absolutely compete on quality, on craftsmanship, on heritage. All of those things are there, but he recognized that that's not where the innovation is. The innovation is in how Brunello has redefined what buying that luxury clothing means. He hosts intimate dinners for clients in his Italian village. He creates experiences around the products that cannot be purchased. They have to be earned through the relationship. So the innovation isn't in the product itself, because this is beautiful Italian menswear, high end, that has a quality that has been around for years. The innovation is in the ecosystem around it. He's not thinking, how can I sell more clothes? He's thinking, how do I create belonging around a way of life that then makes my clothes really desirable? And that is strategic innovation.
I'm interrupting this episode to let you know of a special giveaway we are doing to celebrate the launch of Rich Work Podcast. One person will win an entire VIP strategy day with me to go through your whole business. Everything from your positioning and your brand presence through to your business model and your offers, your messaging, visibility, and of course, into your sales. To enter, simply write a review on the podcast episode that you have listened to on your favorite podcast app and send us a screenshot. All of the details of how to enter are in the show notes, and I cannot wait to see who is the one that gets this VIP opportunity. Now, let's get back to the episode.
The second example is the UK-based clothes rental business By Rotation. And this really demonstrates innovation in ownership. By Rotation didn't innovate by creating a new rental service for clothing. What it created is a new way of thinking about what owning designer clothing means. By Rotation has a concept where instead of buying a £2,000 dress to wear once, you can rent it from someone else's wardrobe and you can rent out yours. It is a totally new way of thinking about the sharing economy in the luxury space. So the question that they've asked is, what if ownership isn't the point? What if premium buyers, people that love to own luxury clothes, don't actually really want to just own the clothing anymore? What if they want to access that same standard of clothing in a way that's really fun and that allows them to try more clothes without having to buy them all the time? That is rethinking the problem entirely, and that is strategic innovation. What I see is high ticket businesses are following the same pattern. I don't look for trends, I look for patterns. So what does this mean for your offers? Innovation is not about launching on a new platform or creating a new format, whether that's a masterclass or audio only or a rebrand. It's about rethinking what your offer actually does, not the tactics, the strategy. If I take my niche as an example, most business coaches are still thinking, how do I help people to scale to a revenue amount, whether that's 6 figures, multi-six, 7, but that's the same problem that everyone's solving. So strategic innovation will ask, what does scaling need to look like now that it's fundamentally different from what it looked like 5 years ago? Maybe it's not about more revenue. Maybe it's about building businesses that don't require so much of your time because automation, platforms, tech, everything has moved on so much. Maybe it's not about more clients. Maybe it's about designing demand that's sustained and not having to create scarcity all the time. That's a different way of thinking about the problem. And that is what premium buyers are looking for. So innovation, in the way that I'm defining it in terms of strategic innovation, in high ticket, in premium business, happens in three places. Firstly, it is in how you define the problem that you solve. If everyone else is solving how to help their clients get more clients, what if the real problem is how to design offers that create demand without you constantly having to promote? That's a different problem and it will require a different solution. So therefore, it's creating innovation in what you will offer. So by asking a different question around the problem, you are going to come up with a category defining solution. The second is how you structure the experience. If everyone else is delivering content and coaching calls, what if innovation is creating access to networks or cross-industry insights or curated events? How can you get more strategic in how you're innovating in the actual experience that you're designing? If you started with a blank sheet of paper rather than looking at how other people have structured their masterminds or their design process or their nutrition plans, whatever your category is, if you started with a blank sheet of paper, what would you create? The third area is what you optimize for. So in my niche in business coaching, if everyone else is optimizing for revenue, for more sales, so more conversions, what if I look at optimizing for having a signature on all of your work, building offers that become recognizable, not interchangeable, creating a positioning that gets your name talked about? And yes, that will lead to more clients, more revenue, more sales. But by looking at what I'm optimizing, I'm shifting the perspective entirely. So where real innovation exists is not in the tactics of, well, what platform are we using? How are we delivering this? How many calls does it have? It's about how you think about what it is that needs to exist. So let's check in for you to be able to do this for your own business. How do you actually know if you're innovating or just losing yourself in all of the tactics and just getting lost in the planning? Because I am very much about going deep into the strategy, as you can probably tell from this podcast, but I'm also about taking the massive action, the stuff that is going to move you forward. So here are questions to ask yourself. The first is, am I solving a different problem than everyone else in my space? If you're solving for the same outcome that everyone else promises, that is going to cap your innovation. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to reinvent everything and you have to come up with some wild problem that actually nobody cares about, because that is not going to be anything that anybody buys. But it is a different angle on the problem. As I just took you through, by asking different questions, by getting more specific on the problem, you can completely change the lens that you're looking at. The second question is, am I thinking differently about what the experience should be? So if your offer is structured like a lot of other people's offers, then your experience is not innovative. And again, we're not putting things in to just be different for the sake of being different. But what would you consider if you cracked open the way that this could work? If you really came from a place of how this is going to enable your clients to get the best results without trying to fit that into an existing framework, an existing way of doing the offer, because that's what's worked for other people. And then the third is, what am I optimizing for that's different? If you are optimizing for the same metric that everyone else tracks, then is there a better way? Is there a way that actually is going to make more difference to your clients than what they think they need right now? Actually, we really need to be looking at how they get known first, then say that in your offer. Real innovation does not come from doing something new. It comes from thinking differently about what needs to exist. Premium buyers can feel the difference. And that is why I started off this episode saying that the innovation recession is a massive opportunity if you are willing to think differently. Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. We are in an innovation recession, but innovation is not what most people think it is. It is not about new tactics or new platforms or new formats. It is about thinking differently, solving a different problem, asking a different question, creating a different kind of experience. Premium buyers in 2026 are choosing based on who is actually innovating, not who is just doing the same thing, but in a slightly different way. The opportunity right now is massive because most people are still thinking tactically. If you can think strategically, if you can innovate in how you define the problem, how you structure the experience, what you optimize for, then you're not competing. You have shifted the game entirely. You are in a category of your own. That's it for episode 3. In the next episode, we're talking about selling high ticket in 2026, what has actually changed, why access and belonging are becoming the primary value levers, and what tastemaker positioning means for your business. Until then, I'm Rachel Pearson, and this is Rich Work. Thanks for tuning in to Rich Work. I'd love it if you left a review. It helps other women to find us. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram at rachelpearson.co for a different take on premium positioning, one that's not about fitting a box. See you next week.